3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Stop. Go Falcon. Go Dragon. Godspeed. Axiom-1.
Copy 1 Alpha. Vehicle position downrange.
Together, a new chapter begins. Godspeed AX-1.
You're watching SpaceX launch Axiom Space's first all-private mission to the International Space Station. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket took off earlier today, carrying a retired NASA astronaut and 3 wealthy businessmen on the rocket's first commercial flight. The 3 entrepreneurs spent $55 million each for the travel and accommodations. The crew is expected to arrive to the International Space Station on Saturday. We'll be sure to continue to follow this story. Dave?
It sure has been an extraordinary week in Elon Musk news, actually bookended by it. The week started with news that Elon owed 9% of Twitter's shares. He was named to the board. He teased an edit button. Yesterday, he had an all-day and night party at the Gigafactory opening in Austin that shut down traffic and got schools out early. He rocked the cowboy hat and sunglasses and made that look good. And then that launch, Andy Serwer here with a look at his weekly column in which he says, believe it or not, Elon Musk is under-recognized. How do you like the look, Andy? And how in the world is Elon under-recognized?
You look actually a little bit like Elon's brother Kimball, who always wears that hat, right? But anyway, keep it going on there. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think a lot of us, you get stuck in sort of a time warp a little bit where you think, okay, 3 years ago, Elon Musk is this rich, famous, important guy. But he's much more than that now. I mean, he is the most iconic business person on the planet, still only 50 years old. And, there are various ways to sort of measure his impact and import. But just start with the companies. I mean, we'll get back to Tesla and SpaceX, but the boring company Neuralink, OpenAI, helped found companies like SolarCity, Starlink, PayPal, DeepMind, and then SpaceX, we're just talking about it, now worth over $100 billion, second most valuable company on the planet after ByteDance, which owns TikTok, up from $74 billion. And Tesla, of course, not quite at the same level as Apple and Google, but still, Apple and Microsoft, I should say, but still worth over $1 trillion. And that's up from $34 billion 3 years ago, you guys.
Andy, with the brand that Elon Musk as an individual has commanded, where do you think that leaves Tesla once one day Musk eventually does step down?
Yeah, well, that is a great question. And they had the same question, Emily, about Apple when Steve Jobs passed away, that was the end of Apple. And it certainly wasn't, because Steve Jobs' greatest business decision, I think, was actually identifying Tim Cook. At some point, Elon is going to have a similar challenge, and you don't really hear ever about anyone else who works at Tesla, by the way. But, again, he's 50 years old. The upside for him, I think, is amazing. And you think about Tesla and SpaceX, for instance, all Tesla is doing is leading the entire world's transportation system away from fossil fuels. And SpaceX, all it's doing is accelerating exploration and colonizing space, and along the way, providing reliable internet for the world, that being Starlink.
And we haven't even talked about Neuralink. I mean, all of these different companies combined, at the end of the day, that is the question. If Elon will decide to combine them at some point, knowing how much it's annexed, as Emily brought up, to his persona and his profile, does combining them make sense in the future?
The government might have a say in that, Brett. I mean, right? Like, how much power, how much impact can one individual have? And he's already, of course, the richest person in the world with $276 billion of net worth. That's $87 billion richer than number 2, Jeff Bezos. And by the way, it's richer than Bezos and his ex-wife put together if they hadn't gotten divorced. Richer than all the Walton family members put together as well. So, at some point, the government doesn't look at wealth per se, but it does look at market share. What kind of market share will Tesla have going forward? And, those other companies as well. That's going to be part of the equation here, you guys.
Yahoo Finance Editor-in-Chief Andy Serwer joining us this afternoon. Happy Friday to you, Andy, and thanks for the breakdown on all things the world of Elon.